Hi, everyone. Welcome to Aquascaping on the Fly. I'm your host, Anthony. Here we have a very special, different video. It's not uncommon for me to talk about spirituality on the channel. Anyone who's watched a few of my videos or even read my bio or my intro into a lot of them realize that I started aquascaping on the fly as a result of a calling from the divine, from spirit, from God, whatever you resonate with, and along with my devotion to Mother Earth. This hobby, this lifestyle hobby, just fit so perfectly with me, and it's kind of like flourished beyond my wildest dreams in just a few short months that I've had the channel out there. And every once in a while, I have a topic that comes up that it's not really aquascaping, it's really spiritual. And I've been led in the past to always divulge my information about when I have something that's spiritual in nature, because I feel like if there's just even one person out there that received the message, then my job is done. I can get the material out to at least one person. And I have to say, I wanted to give kudos to my Fly Scrapers collective. You guys are amazing. Amazing. You have the ability, when I think my channel is not going to be doing anything and that it's not going to gain the notoriety that I see that it should have, I'll get an amazing comment from one of you talking about the content and how this saved you from something or enlightened you on something, and we'll start a dialogue. The contents of your comments, a little bit hard to say there, has been overwhelmingly generous. The love that's on this channel is just beyond belief. And there's a lot of you that are my regular subscribers that are in my collective now that reach out to me and have shared little stories about your spirituality, and your spirituality specifically attached to aquascaping. Now, I believe that I was shown aquascaping for a reason, not just because I became obsessed about it immediately within a few hours and prompted to start a YouTube channel on a topic I knew nothing about, but because it has helped me overcome some really big obstacles in my life. Because you know what I'm talking about when you're working on a project, you're usually deep in thought, but part of that deep in thought process is you can be cleansing yourself of a bad habit or dealing with a difficult situation. It just kind of happens naturally. They flow together. There's such a healing force in this lifestyle hobby. And I've shared it on another video, and I want to retell it again. There was a video I was going to produce, and it was about the positive effects that did a lot of research on, about if you're on the spectrum or if you have PTSD or any type of disorder that causes confusion in your brain or in your actions, that just looking at an aquarium can really help a lot of people. And practicing with an aquarium, like, doing maintenance on it, or, just the routine stuff that we do in them, really puts a lot of people in a very calm demeanor. And it changes their whole outlook from what's happening in the outside world, where it's constant noise and the barrage of public information and everyone on their mobile device and distracted from the world. You can come into your own home, and if you have a tank, you know what I'm talking about. It's automatically soothing. So I had 2 pages of notes about this. Wonderful benefits. I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be great. I'm going to love it. So when I got my notes together and printed them off, I went to Google AI and I wanted to have a title suggested specifically relating it to spectrum or PTSD. Well, the title came back, Spirituality and a Journey Through Healing with Aquascaping. And so I immediately knew what I needed to do. I did a video about my spiritual journey through aquascaping. So I had asked AI for a title that led directly into the research I was doing. But what it did is it gave me a title for a video about my experience. So that video is now out there. I think its release date is November the 1st, whenever you're watching this, of 2025. And so this is going to be a follow-up to that. This is going to be following hopefully the week after that, or maybe 2 weeks after that. Depends on. What I'm trying to do now is to give you guys a consistent stream of videos that download every Saturday. I'm looking to put 2 videos out per Saturday. Ones that could be updates and ones that's a full video about something, so that there's always something coming in over the weekend. Because when I look at my matrix, that's when most of you guys watch my videos, is on the weekend, or the biggest part of you are watching it on the weekend. So when I had that message from sign from Spirit that, hey, they told AI to tell me that I needed to do this title, and I did it, and the video was just amazing. I have never had so much joy producing a video. It was just glorious. I just love it how it worked out. And I asked for protection during the video, just like I did for this one. I did a prayer before this one, hoping that my intent comes through, my passion comes through, my love of the divine, and my archangels, my angels, my guides that I talk to on a daily basis to come through. So that being said, the topic that I want to talk about today is something that, now for those of you to know, I became awoke spiritually. When I talk about being awoke, I'm talking about where you pierce the veil and you kind of see the other side. You kind of understand that there's a mission you're supposed to have, and you try to give up some things, give up your things from the ego sense that no longer serve you. You see the higher power, and basically what it boils down to, which basically is love. It's showing love for one another, showing care and concern for one another. I don't want to pinpoint anyone into a certain religion, but of course in North America where I was raised, it's about Jesus's teachings. What would Jesus have done? And I know that was a big craze a few years ago with the bans, but that's basically what it is. It's Jesus didn't judge. Jesus helped everyone, especially the poor and the needy and the downtrodden and the members of society that were cast out. And right now, that's not what we're doing in the world. So you have a lot of people that are awakening to be that army on the ground. And to give you a kind of like an overall sense, when I first realized I had woke up, and you know the difference. I mean, you know the difference immediately. You sense something immediately is happening. And I've always been spiritual, always. Watch the other video and you'll find out. But when you wake up, you start to sense things, you start to feel things, you start to see things, and you start to try and understand where your place is in the scheme of things, how you can help. So when I started waking up, my intuition, which has always been strong, came out and said immediately that I was a starseed from the solar system Sirius. I was a Sirius starseed of their collective, which kind of means, from what I can gather, I'm a super, super, super old soul that came to Earth for a mission. And I've always said from the very beginning when I woke up that I was a warrior on the ground, and I knew what my mission was. My mission was to enlighten humanity. And you can enlighten humanity however your passion fits. That's aquascaping for me. In this hobby, I'm trying to help people that want to do the DIY or need to do the DIY because of their budget. I'm trying to show you how to get plants at special prices. I'm trying to show you how you can grow things instead of buying a bunch of plants. I'm trying to show you that pause before you fill a tank just full of everything. Take it one step at a time and enjoy the entire process. So my whole take on this is my spirituality flows really heavy through aquascaping, and Mother Nature is right there along with me. I'm very grounded to Mother Nature because we're building ecosystems that mimic Earth, whether you want to look at it like that or not, but just think of Earth as like an ecosystem. And that's what we're doing. We're building something like that. So once I started tapping into, okay, every video now, I start recording and my nose starts itching. Someone's messing with me. And when I say messing with me, it has to be one of my guides is messing with me. They're letting me know they're here, I guess, because it feels like there's a feather touching my nose. So as I was waking up, the first time I was interviewed by Ethereal Pathways website, and you can go on, they have a YouTube website with Jasmine. I just came straight out of the gate and said, I'm a Sirian Starseed, I'm a Lightworker, I have a mission, I'm a warrior on the ground, and it just all this stuff started coming out of my mouth, and I had no idea where it was coming from. I was actually kind of in shock that I was talking about this kind of stuff, but it just naturally flowed out. So I know that I was just the vessel for the words that were coming out to inform here's my announcement. Here's my coming out party spiritually. That is probably the best way to say it. It's a coming out party spiritually. And that's how I see it. And so when I get to share things with you through a build, my spirituality is right there alongside with me, even though you may not know all the details of it. You may not know the conversation I had with Mother Nature before I walked out and found a piece of driftwood that's sitting in that tank right there. You may not know the significance of how I found it. And that happens to me on every single one of my builds. Something happens and I know it's divinely planned. And because the whole concept of every build comes to my mind immediately, I know the title, I know the layout, I know what colors, I know everything. It's done deal. All I have to do is execute, and sometimes I don't execute it properly, as in the way of we're fighting water parameters still and keeping shrimp alive. But okay, I digress. That's another story. So in my whole process so far, it's been amazing. I've learned how to meditate. I go out into nature. I ground myself with Mother Nature. I've had these beautiful spiritual experiences in nature, some through dreams, some visions, just to confirm what I'm doing, that I'm on the right track. Well, something happened that I've heard about. It happened 2 nights ago now. And I was totally unprepared for it. So I came in from a trip and I was really, really tired. But the same time, the divine timing was perfect for the shrimp that I had ordered for blackfish and bird on a wire. I ordered them from a vendor that had delayed shipment, but that worked in my favor because they arrived in 3 days. Now, get this. My trip arrives, I think I landed around 11 a.m. my time, my local time. And my mail runs at about 11:45. At 11:30, I was in the employee parking lot. I only live like less than 20 minutes from the airport. So when I was pulling into my complex, I thought, let me drive by our mailboxes that are where my mailbox is and see if the postal worker has already been through there. And the postal worker was actually standing with our boxes open. And I walk up and I said, I think you have a package for me. And she goes, yeah, I just put it in the locked box. So I open my box up, grab the key, open it up, there's the shrimp. The minute she put it in there is the minute I pulled up and I got the shrimp immediately, which is amazing because the water in there was still nice and cold. And there was only like a couple of dead ones. So it was a very good experience. But that's how divine timing works. I was there when I needed to be there to get it. Otherwise, I would have came home and fallen asleep and slept for at least 5 hours and then woke up and they would have been in the mailbox the whole time. And I would have been really upset because I would have missed out on that. So that was that day. So I was really, really tired because I went from my trip and then I did the acclimation, which the acclimation took 3 hours by itself. And it wasn't until that afternoon, late afternoon, I was able to eat anything. I ate, I lay down, and I went to bed. And I woke up, and I'm going to tell you exactly how this felt. The best way I can describe it, this is what it might feel like if you're undiagnosed and you have any type of a mental disorder that causes you to hear voices in your head. But the voice that was in my head was my voice. I woke up to my voice talking to me in my head, and it was a barrage. It was a war zone inside my head. It was the worst negative thought you could ever have cross your mind about yourself, from yourself, and I did not know what to do. At the same time, when I tried to look at the time on my cell phone, I could not see. I mean, I could see shapes. My vision was blurred, and that freaked me out. So I had blurred vision, so that meant, okay, I couldn't go get help anywhere if I wanted to. Like if I, thought there was something wrong with me medically, it's not like I could go to the ER because I wouldn't be able to drive. I couldn't because I couldn't see, and my eyes were in pain and my eyes were watering. My head was pounding. I had no idea. And then my sciatica, which I have from being a flight attendant, was flared up like crazy. And when I went to bed, I was fine. I woke up like this, like my body felt like it was under attack. So it happened, it went on all night long. I didn't cry. I tried talking to my guides, to the divine, to Mother Nature. I could feel no one. I felt nothing. I felt abandoned. So I wanted to share with you, I've been holding my crystal and it's hot. I wanted to share with you what came out. So I already said I felt abandoned. This is one of the first things that started, these stories started coming out from my voice, and they were mocking me. And it says, you think you're being guided by angels and the divine and Mother Nature. There were never any angelically guides. They were demons in disguise, only here to cause torment, and by saying the following. And I wrote down everything that I could remember, but literally my voice was saying, you've been in cohorts with demons, and demons have set you up. They've made fun of you. Now they're telling you what an idiot you were for believing everything you thought was true. And how dare you think that you're worthy of anything? One of the things was that my Aquascaping channel would never amount to anything, as with a lot of my videos only have 7 views, and how could it ever go viral? Now that has been one of my fears, yes, is that we're putting so much effort into this channel and I'm seeing very little results. Now, I know, my channel's new, and I do some freaky stuff on my channel that messes up the algorithm because I'm not terrariums, I'm not just aquascaping, and I throw in spirituality in there. But I try to change the SEOs for every single video that clearly state what it should be tailored towards. But I'm getting sent in these bizarre places that have nothing to do with aquascaping at all. And aquascaping is always my main one if I'm talking about a tank. So that is a very real fear of mine, is that that's going to happen. And my content was laughable. Oh my God, that when you hear stuff like this coming out of your own voice and you're talking about something very private and personal, that cut me to the core, just cut me to the core. I wouldn't thought I would have ever had these thoughts in my head unless I heard myself say it. I had asked for a glow up so that I would be able to do my work. And basically, I've had to battle my way out of a 8-year marriage that I'm still dealing with that was quite traumatic. And so I was asking for a glow up, and it actually said, you are not getting a glow up. You will not have a public platform. Oh my God, here's one. Okay, so I've been told that there's a romance out there for me that's aligned for me, someone who's also spiritual, that also has a path, and that our paths are supposed to come together and we work together as a team. This is no. I would be rejected. That's not happening. I'm too old. I'm too fat. My God, reading some of this, I can't believe it. I'm just telling you exactly what I wrote down. Unappealing to be on stage. Oh yeah, here's one. So money has been promised to be coming in. No, money's came in. And actually in here, I just said, I worked increased hours, so no more money came in. It's just that I worked more hours. Oh, here's one. Okay, I'm just gonna divulge. So one of my exes, we were together 7 years. He was a very bad person. He was very crafty at disguising himself. But in the relationship, he had told me that his best friend in high school had been murdered and that he was a suspect. I found out later he'd gone to federal prison for money laundering. And I sat with him through trial with a former employer who he embezzled $75,000 from. Now, when I broke this relationship off, the house that we lived in was in my name. And so he left. He planned a return to where he got help breaking into my house from a former neighbor of mine that I was friends with, that he coerced and said I had done these horrible things to him, which were not true. Broke into my house with a moving truck, stole everything he could that had been part of my split of the items. He took everything. He bought a car in my name. He stole my car. He took out 18 credit cards in my name and just tried to wreak havoc. It took me 5 years to clean my credit, especially when someone that has lived with you at the same residence has done your identity theft, and you're not married, and you're gay. So you try working with local police on that. That was very, very difficult because they automatically wanted to assume we were in cohorts or something about it. Even all creditors gave me the same flack about it. But fortunately, I did have a detective that wrote everything up, and I was able to eventually clear my name. But that person now has a home on each coast, is doing quite well financially, quite well, enough to have a house on each coast and be remodeling each of them, and has a new little boy toy that looks like he just bought and paid for. And I can see all this on Facebook, his best life. And so that was part of one of the things that was said, is that, we talk about balance in the universe and how has the divine let this happen. When this theft took place with me and he tried to destroy my life, and I had to climb up a hill and do this battle and then to regain control over my own life and rebuild my life from nothing. And then he gets to do something like this and he's not in jail. That's one big thing right there. God, this one's bad. This one's, oh God. Maybe most of you won't watch this video because I'm about to say something else. Okay, so the person I'm married to now, the man I'm married to now, I received a sign the first time I met him. And in the sign, the first time I laid eyes on him in person, we had a blind date set up. And we were going to go out to dinner. And so he shows up at my place, and I open the door, and honest to God, I had a vision right then, a third eye vision. I was staring at him. I had a third eye vision. Freaked me out. It was one of the first ones I'd ever had. And I didn't know what it was, really. I had to look it up later. It was like a billboard, the size of a billboard in my head with a mechanical hand that was pointing like this, saying, "This is the man you're going to marry," and pointing right at him. Same vision happened again the very first time we kissed. So I had no hesitation in marrying this man. I thought, hey, signs like this do not come along. He seemed amazing. He was from another country, and I didn't want him being deported, and so I married him. The person that I dated did not show up for the marriage. It was, and if you need to, you can look these terms up, breadcrumbing, where someone says one little nice thing to you, but the rest of it is crap. Basically pushes down your self-esteem so bad that you think all you're worthy is that breadcrumb or that love bomb, or in his case, there was no communication. He avoided communication like the plague. He used to try and say it was because his English was his fourth language. That's not it. I could tell him, I said this many, many times, I could talk to a brick wall and get more response than I could from him. We never were physical. And you might find that hard to believe. How you married someone like that? He said he was asexual. I knew he was lying. My intuition told me he was lying. He wanted a green card. When he got his green card, he was gone 2 weeks later. So I had a hard time balancing the fact that I had a sign that I was supposed to marry him, but look how my marriage turned out. We lived for 6 years in the same city, and then I moved away 2 years ago to start separating myself from him. And I believe that there's someone in his close proximity of friends and family that were trying through dark magic to keep me attached to him, because I was his financial lifeline to him and his family. And now that I've pulled away, he's freaking out because he thought I would never change. He didn't know that I would evolve past what I was. And he was basically feeding off of my light. And when I pulled away and blocked him, he started seeing the real world repercussions of that. And so that's one of the things that my guides and we work on almost every single day, is people that have been in my life that have wanted to just drain me. And what I've done to kind of like give that up and to get rid of it, I always ask Archangel Michael to please take all these feelings that are in my head, my mind, in my being, in my aura, and please take them away. They no longer serve me. And so I'm constantly on a daily basis trying to address and pull out the negative thoughts that would have impacted me in a very bad way, that would deter me from my mission and from being on my highest and my best path forward. And so I can usually, see these things. But what I was going through, it was calling a dark night of the soul. And it's where you basically you're breaking down everything. So I didn't realize that when it was first happening, all this stuff that was coming forward. But that was the last one of the things that the quote unquote demons were saying to me. But I want to finish this out. I was trying to counteract counterattack this onslaught. It didn't stop. It did not stop. It was my voice, their voice, or my voice and my voice, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and begging for my guides. Why do I feel this way? Why can I not control these emotions? Why am I so in despair? And this was an internal battle in my own mind. I actually wanted to put myself in harm's way at one point. I was so desperate to get any type of relief. I thought harm would be the easiest. And that's when I knew I was blinded for a reason, because I would have got in my car and would have drove somewhere, could have had an accident. I kept saying to myself, stay in bed. I turned on frequency music that's supposed to like cleanse you, and no, it drove me insane. I had to shut it off. It was worse. It just made it worse. I felt lost, unworthy, not good enough for any of my work. It wasn't until the next morning that I woke up and I knew immediately what it was. I knew it was a dark night of the soul. I've heard people mention it, but no one's ever given any elaboration of what it's like. And when I woke up, I still did not feel an attachment to the divine or any of my angels. So that's when I had the idea, okay, I'm going to do something that I knew I wanted to put this on a video as a way to release it back into the universe. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I do this, I'm going to have to disclose more information about myself than I might be comfortable doing. But at this point, I don't care, because I believe that my story will resonate with someone that's maybe had something like this happen. And I felt like if I can get the video out there, a lot of times once I deal with something and I become obsessed with something and I do it put a video out about it, whether it's in the channel, then the feelings just fades away after that. It's like I've done the work I'm supposed to do. And once the video's done, then I'm okay. Then I move on to the next obsession or next video obsession that I'm talking about. And so I went to the park that I like to go to very early in the morning, sat where I was in the sun in a playground, and started journaling the notes that I just read off to you. And then once I was done, I went to another part of the park where I've had third eye visions, and I had an out-of-body experience, and I was guided to go barefoot one day to ground myself to the planet for the first time. And so I have this one special part in the park that I love to go to that's really pretty. And I can say this, that the first sense of calmness I felt was when I stepped into the park area and I could see the sunlight coming through the rays of the trees, and I knew it was Mother Nature for me. And I asked Mother Nature to help me to calm my thoughts, to process this information, and to have a tranquil experience that I needed to help ground myself. And so I went through all my favorite places, and then I kind of got trapped by 3 sets of school-age children on tours. So I was trying to be all quiet. You know how the kids are all noisy. So I was trying to stay away from them so I could continue my meditation and keep, walking and working what I was doing. And so that felt a little better. But I noticed during the day that I was just exhausted. So I slept most of the day. I get up, I go out last night to another favorite spot where I like to do prayer meditation. And one of my favorite places is like a round part in a park where you can park, but you can walk in this giant circle, and it's almost every time I do it, it takes 3 times to go around, and I'm done with my prayer meditation. And so I started, and usually, I'll have a breakthrough or something, and I can tell in my voice when something's different because I'll get louder. So that's why I choose to go late at night, because I don't want people thinking there's this crazy guy out there talking to himself. No, I'm actually talking to my guides and the divine. And so I was talking about the experience, that the fact that I felt locked out. And at one point, I'm mirroring back. I'm doing my shadow work. I'm mirroring back what is one of my fears. And I just started bawling, which happens a lot in my prayer meditation. I always say it's the best time to cry, because you're protected. You have all your angels, and the divine is right there, and Mother Nature's with you. All the people I call in are right there with me. And so I had this massive cry. I'm still walking. I'm still prayer meditating. I'm bawling at the same time. And it felt so much better because it lifted my energy. And I asked again, and I did something really weird that I've never done before. I was talking to Archangel Michael, and I said I wanted him to please release these feelings, these fears, whatever this happened during the dark night of the soul, release it back into the universe. It no longer serves a purpose for me. And I started doing this. It's where I put this hand up and this hand up, like I'm pushing this out into the universe, away from me. It's like I did it twice. And I thought, okay, I don't know where that came from. It just instinctively, I just did it. And I thought, okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what that does. And I felt better because I asked Michael to block an individual. It's no secret who I'm talking about, one of my exes, and my current. And I saw it. I had a third eye vision I can always see Michael with his sword when he is cutting the vines. I'm sorry, not blocking, but cutting the vines. When he's cutting the vines, I can see him do it. And for those of you who want to know, he's kind of a sandy blonde. It's very attractive. I've told him that before. I was like, oh, you're really cute. And his beautiful armor, and his sword is super long, but to him, it is light as a feather. I mean, the chains that bind us to someone or to something, to me, are shipyard chains that hold tanks to the tugboats, maybe like tugboat, or ships to the yard. So like, when you see those massive, massive anchors, like on cruise ships, the big kind, that's what it's like. It's like that. But when his knife comes through, before the knife touches the metal, it turns it like to briquette dust. Like it goes hot and black, and then it's dust, and it just flakes away. It's beautiful. And so I could see that happening, and I can always see the number of people, the shadows that he's doing it to, because sometimes you know the people, sometimes you don't know people that maybe are attacking you. So you're saying something like, anyone known or unknown to me that is going to do that wants to cause any harm by spell work or dark magic, or even the thought of something. And so you just go through your little things like that. And so I could see him do it. And then Metatron, Archangel Metatron, provides me with my third eye visions, and he provided me with the third eye vision of my light. And I felt so much better, because I was like, okay, if I can see your visions, I know you're there. I may not be able to hear you or feel you as strongly, but I know you're there. So I know I'm not abandoned like I thought I was. Okay, so that was just, that was that. I did take some notes off the internet because I was really confused about this. And I just want to kind of go over it just so that you guys will understand. The dark night of the soul is a profound spiritual crisis characterized by feelings of emptiness. Yes. Despair. Yes. Sense of disconnection. Yes. From one's purpose or faith. Yes. Oh my God. Reading this, when I saw this online, I'm like, oh yeah, this person, this AI has got this. It's got this down good. It's a period of intense personal suffering and doubt, often triggered by a major life event like a loss of a job, divorce, and it can be interpreted as a process of an ego death or to break down of a previous life's meeting. Ultimately, it is seen by some as transformative phase that can lead to a deeper sense of purpose, a transformed state of consciousness, and rebirth. Now, I will wholeheartedly agree to everything it just said. Yes, I'm going to have to go through a divorce. Okay, so I'm right there in the middle of it. And yes, I know that my soon ex wants to come back around again, but is not going to be allowed to. So I do have that stress that's hanging over my head. But the characteristics, and this is where oh my God, it just made so much sense to me. You're in a spiritual crisis. It involves your loss of faith, purpose, and meaning. The usual sources of hope and nourishment are gone. I'm telling you, there was nothing in my world, nothing. During this intense phase, there was nothing. It was empty. And that was the weirdest sensation. I felt totally isolated. Individuals feel isolated, abandoned, or disconnected from themselves or others and their higher power. Yes. The experience can be similar to depression. Yeah, I can see that. Some people see it as a necessary stage of growth. I do. It's called an ego death, is what I've heard a lot of other people talk about it, but they just don't talk about what happens to you. It can be understood as the death of your ego sense of self, leading to an emergence of a new, more authentic self. Well, one of the articles I read was it's called almost like an onion layer. You peel a layer off of an onion, there's another layer underneath it. A more renewed layer is underneath the old one that you're taking off. That's what it's like. That's what is happening to you. You're going through a process to remove something that no longer serves its purpose. So my marriage no longer serves my purpose. My ability to live wherever I thought I needed to live, drive what I thought I needed to drive, wear what I thought I needed to wear, no longer serves that purpose. I have been undergoing a realignment. What I know now that's important is how we treat each other, the knowledge that we pass on to each other to help each other in this process, and to lift up each other. And that's the part I want to focus on, the lifting up process. Also, it can be a catalyst for a positive change. Now, here's the clincher. The dark night of the soul does not have a fixed duration. It can go days, months, years, or decades. Now, so you think about all the people that are in your realm, those that have had a hard time, those that maybe are negative, those that seem to never be able to get anything accomplished, everything they go for maybe doesn't work out right. Is it possible that it could be a dark night of the soul and they're living a dark night of the soul? Yes, I believe that. I believe it is possible. If you don't do the work and give up that part of your ego, the part that, focuses on the material, because the material and this is just a vessel. That's another funny thing I need to tell you guys. One of my first prayer sessions, I was meditating in a tub, and I was in a hotel, and I was mixing all these soaps and lotions together, and I got in there and I'm praying about stuff, and I was like, I said actually out loud, I'm cleansing this vessel with nourishment from the earth. I've never called myself a vessel before. It just came out of my mouth. So it's very interesting that things have been happening to me that I didn't know why, but now that this has happened, a lot of other stuff has made sense. So yeah, I could see where if you have someone that's close to you or yourself, if you kind of step back and think, what are you focused on? What's your priority? Is it a fake Facebook life? I hope not. because that's not real. You know that's not real. Is it keeping up with what your neighbors have? I hope not. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get you happiness. One thing I see that happens a lot in my industry as a flight attendant, I see families that save all year long to go on one vacation, and they're fighting like crazy on the plane. They're not enjoying themselves. What also saddens me is, guys are going to think this is funny. Just on the flight, one of the flights I just worked, I was doing drink service. And so mom was awake and her teenage daughter was awake sitting next to her. And of course, her teenage daughter was glued to her phone, wouldn't even look up at me, I tried to acknowledge her, just ask her what she wanted, because part of my responsibility is to make sure that everyone is on my flight of their own free will. And so I make sure I talk to everybody. And you guys need to think about that. A lot of people are trafficked through airlines. And so I make sure I talk to every single person. If they're awake, I'm talking to them. If a man wants to tell me what a woman is drinking or what she wants, first thing I say is, are you psychic, and what lottery number should I play today? I try to get his attention diverted so I can focus on her, and I can look directly at her in the eye, and I can ask her what she wants. And if she doesn't speak, I have reported a case before of human trafficking. You know it when you see it. That's all I have to say. A flight attendant, I see human nature play out by the thousands every day. So I know what is normal and what is not normal in society. So when I was doing this drink service, I gave mom her thing, and the daughter was being so rude to her mother. Her mother told me what she wanted to drink, and I said, so I gave them, and I said, I'm not giving her a thing until she apologizes to you. I said, I'm standing right here, and I heard what she said to you. That's not right. No daughter should talk to their mother like that. And the mother just looked at me and she smiled. And I'm serious. And so I gave it to her, and I gave her the soda she wanted, and then she wanted ice. And I gave her this, and I said, don't give her this until she starts acting better. I said, because that's just reinforcing her bad behavior. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of that in my crowds. And then you have the flip side. You have people that are super nice to each other, and you can tell they're, trying to create a harmonious memory for their family. And then you have other ones that are just, spending all this money just to bitch the whole time. So, that's just another side note. I should do a video as a flight attendant. You guys would just crack that up. Okay, so my thing was, how do you know when you move past the dark night of the soul? When you are no longer seeing through the old conditioned framework and meaning. You can integrate the spiritual insights and reconstruct your life. You have a new sense of purpose and service. You have inner peace, letting go of conceptual limitations. I think that's the part I'm doing right here. I want to get this out there, let it go, post it. 2 of you will watch it. And then maybe one of the 2 will send me a comment saying that really resonated with me. I'll be, thank goodness, because my pain will have helped someone. That's what it's all about. We have to share the experience. There may be one of you out there right now who could be like me, a light worker, that's thinking they might have a purpose. So if you are, I encourage you to send me a message. We can talk about it. I can direct you into places that I get readings from, people that have helped me. Or you can start to do what I do, is do research on your own about what's happening and start talking to your guides. And it's as easy as a conversation. Just like we're having a conversation. I think you're right here with me. You're in my little studio and we're talking. It's the same thing. You just open up and start talking, and you will be amazed at the level of commitment you will have that comes back to you. I actually am able to ask some questions and get answers. Because there's people out there that channel for the divine and for angels. And sometimes it's a legit archangel. Sometimes it's a generational angel. Sometimes it's someone that knew you as a child that is coming forward to help you and to guide you, and you just don't maybe realize it. But a lot of times I've been able to ask very specific questions. Like I have one right now that I've been waiting on is, should I create a crossover channel? And because my last video that I was going to do about the health issues in aquascaping, and I got a title that was about spirit, I thought, okay, well, I need to do this video. I was prompted to do this video to tell my story. I don't have a barrier about talking about myself and what I've gone through. I mean, as a matter of fact, on the last video I did, I was very honest about the number of times I wanted to commit suicide. And that kind of stuff just doesn't bother me. Once I put it out there and I'm done with it, I'm okay talking about it. I don't have any issue with that because it doesn't hold any control over me any longer. So just, if anything resonates, just let me know, and we can go from there. But I hope you guys have a great day. I'm making some RO water because every time I do research about remineralized water and about GH and KH creep up, I got another misalignment from AI. AI literally contradicted itself to me in some research I was doing earlier this morning. So I'm going to do my water changes today because we just put new shrimp in and we want them to be healthy. But when I went to Google AI, literally it contradicts itself, and I just could not believe it. So please be careful out there when you're using AI, because now I think I've done the research on it 3 different times and I've gotten 3 different answers. They all kind of try to be the same, but the numbers we're looking for is where it's important about what the ranges need to be for the shrimp we're holding. And remember, the reason why we're doing shrimp first is because they're the hardest. Once we get the shrimp under control and they can breed and molt, hallelujah, we can get some other livestock in there. And please be on the lookout for the Harry Potter reboot. So I encourage you to look on my channel for the Harry Potter terrarium, because we're going to turn what was formerly a terrarium into an aquascape. I know it sounds crazy, but I cannot wait to do it. I'm so excited. I have the tank already. And once I take a nap, I may start on that video today to let you guys kind of see how it's going to look. So have that in mind. So I'm so glad you guys are with me today. You made this super easy, and I'll see you either in the skies or on my next video update. Have a great one.